Well, happy Tabernacles. I'm here in the Galilean city of Tiberias. Very excited. And I was thinking some thoughts, a soliloquy, if you will, of, soliloquies like saying your thoughts, your private thoughts out loud. And I'm thinking of Tabernacles and how I've been able to go to all kinds of different Tabernacles throughout this time of Tabernacles. And this season of Tabernacles is so beautiful because there's a togetherness. And, you got the myrtle, you got the hadass, you got the etrog, the citrus, and you have the date palm, the lulav. And they're held together. They're very different, but they're together. And that's us. We go through the shaking together to the heavens, to the earth, the north, south, the east, and the west. And we go through that together. But there's still a togetherness here in Israel, and we're all very different. And I was in a different sukkahs. They're singing loudly. They're doing karaoke. They're more religious. They're less religious. They believe this way. They believe that way. But we're all together. And my thoughts are about the season that we're in of go forth. And so Abraham is our father of the Jewish people and the Arabs. And so we have this. He's born in 1948 BC. Back in the day, BCE, some say it. And he's called at age 75. He's called when he's 75 years old, and that's 2023 BC. Some say BCE. And so he's called, and this is an important sign because there's a template and a sign of things that happen in the Bible, and then how they then unfold years and years later. So it's like a sign and a wonder, and it happens. So you got to add up the generations in Genesis 5 and 11, and you have this time from creation to the birth of Abraham, and you see that it was 1948 or 1948 years since the creation. This is remarkable. Abraham was the father of our nation here. Everybody here, they're sons and daughters of Abraham. And guess what? The nation of Israel was born in 1948. And so when Abraham was called in the year 2023, he's called to go forward, to go to another place, to go, and that's what redemption's all about. That's what, this unfolding story, this cycles of revelation. And so you could parallel, back in the day, the years back in Abraham's time and parallel what happens now, and you can kind of see a pattern of what's happening. Genesis 12, verse 4, we see that Abraham was 75 years old. How old is Israel today? When he left Ur of the Chaldeans, and he's 75. Israel's 75 now. 1948 is when he was born, plus 75 years, you get 2023. From Adam to Abraham, and you match those all up, and you have 1948. That's the time of Israel's birth in the modern. And many people don't look at this because they're not looking at Aliyah as a unlocking, as a template, as a prophetic sign and a wonder. And so they don't see how things are all lining up, and actually timers are going off. So how AD and BC work, or some call it BCE and then CE, like before Common Era and Common Era. But so what it is that AD means Anno Domini, or in the year of our Lord, which is counting from Yeshua onward, and then BC is before, and before Common Era, before his time. And most people, most leaders, even most believers are unaware of the significance of 1948 because of a well-known chronology of this, documenting from Adam all the way to Abraham. It was changed a bit by a 17th century English priest called James Ussher, and he deviated from the chronology given in the book of Genesis. Why did he do that? I don't know, but that's why people miss this a lot of times. What I want to do is I want to talk about the significance of 1948, because Abraham went on a journey to the Promised Land in 1948 BC, and then in 1948 AD, huge waves of Aliyah to the land of Israel. And so you see a perfect correlation from the life of Abraham and the generation today, and great signs that would follow. It was a sign and a wonder that he had Isaac, and then the whole story with Ishmael and Jacob, and you have all this playing out today still from that time. So we have to see it all through a timeline of redemption, and that is what Abraham was part of. He was to usher in a timeline of redemption. And when we say Great Commission, or we say light to the world, when we say this, Abraham was following, and he was doing part of the Great Redemption. We are part of the Great Redemption a lot longer along the timeline, farther along the timeline, but we see the signs and symbols. We see a great emphasis on the birth of Isaac and the miraculous nature of the birth of Isaac. In the same way, we see a great pattern of him leaving because of a pandemic. Abraham left Ur of the Chaldeans because of a pandemic, which was followed by a war and destruction, and God gave them a way of escape and put them on a journey of redemption. And so in the same way, we're seeing that today, the unfolding of this Abrahamic children returning in 1948, and there was a great war. And even now, 2023, marking a season where I believe we are challenged to Lech Lecha, or to go forth, and to be part of a great going forth. And this is people, whether someone's an Orthodox Jew or whether someone is whatever they believe, if they're part of this great unfolding story, they're part of a testimony of the redemption that God's bringing, which has to do with a land and a people, and it has to do with an epicenter, and it has to do with a timeline. Even the struggle of Ishmael and Isaac, right? Or Hagar and Sarah. And you see all that come forth even today. There's a struggle of those who will follow the Spirit or those who will follow just the flesh. It's like I will stir up the sons of Greece against the sons of Zion, right? We got to know that by grace we're going to win this spiritual journey. We're going to get to the end. Sure, there will be an apocalypse at one time in the future. But we have a time of bringing all things together first, a restoration of Israel. We have a time of unity, of rallying together, of restoring Israel, planting the vines on the mountains of Samaria, helping the Jewish people return, restore the waste places. So we're all part of this journey together, and we know that there is a Redeemer in the redemption process. In 2023 BC, Abraham was taken into a land that was cursed because Canaan, Genesis 9 verse 25, was someone who was cursed. And there was a land under a curse, and a land under a curse that's to be redeemed through Abraham. Well, how many that are in the covenant of Abraham are here to redeem a land that's cursed, a world that's cursed because of the sin of Adam and Eve? And the end is revealed from the beginning. And just read again Isaiah 46 verse 10, and we see this re-happening, reoccurring. And you look at Daniel's prophecy, the prophecy he interpreted, that is, of this statue and the head of gold, and there comes a stone right at those feet, at the iron and clay, and we see that a kingdom's ushered in that is not able to be destroyed. And that's what I'm excited about, is this physical rebirth of Israel in 1948, and 75 years later to 2023. What kind of a Lech Lecha will you do? What kind of a go forth will I do? Who will join with us in this journey of go forth? Who will? Who will? It could be an Orthodox Jew. It could be an Arab man. It could be a young child. It could be a youth. It could be so many. It could be a worker in the pharmacy. It could be a contractor in your building. They could all be part of the redemption if they will journey with us in the redemption. It has to do with Israel, and it has to do with Bible prophecy coming to pass right now. And there's a generation alive today that will see some of the greatest things that humankind has ever seen, I believe. And 2023, I believe that this is going to be a choice to be made. Out of Egypt I have called my son. Yes, that is about the Jewish people coming out of Egypt. But you see how there's later fulfillments, right? And part of the redemption. Now I want to say, even today, who is willing to come out of Egypt? And I mean out of a mindset. Egypt, Africa, God has redemption for them too, to come out of a mindset and come into kingdom mindset, come into kingdom timeline, come into redemption timeline. And that's even leaving a Babylon system of the mind and saying, I am all in with kingdom. And there's mysteries that are being revealed. There are books that are being opened. There are seals that are being opened. And here in the Galilee, I'm excited to say that we are part of helping the nations to unlock the mysteries.